Welcome back to continue the first lecture of the software engineering course. So in this chapter, chapter 1, our objectives of this chapter is to define the basic types of computer systems, of software systems that exist for businesses and companies. And these types of systems, any software engineer or system analyst will require to design and implement during his work. So throughout the course, we are going to refer to the title of a software engineer or a system analyst interchangeably. So we are going to mean the same thing with these two titles. If you search for within famous companies, you will find that each company that implements its own software for its business operations will require a certain team that will design and implement the software. The boss of this team will be the software engineer or the system analyst. This is the person who will be responsible for identifying the type of software that is needed by the company, for defining the characteristics of the software, for designing the software, as we are going to take in this course, and for managing and controlling the team of software developers and programmers who will write the code and implement and test the software. These are the main functionalities and main objectives that the software engineer or system analyst will be assigned to do during his work. So in this course, we are going to first in the first part of the course, in this chapter 1. First, we are going to talk about the different types of software that exist in a company at the different managerial levels in the company and the characteristics of each type. Next, we want to understand how the users working in the context with the new technologies change the dynamic of a system, which means that we want to analyze and discuss when we apply a new technology, a new type of software or hardware, how applying this new technology affects the complete software system of a certain company. We will talk in this chapter about the role of a system analyst, the things that the system analyst or software engineer is responsible to know and do, perform in the company. We will talk about the different types of software design models. We will discuss throughout the course three main types. The first one is the System Development Life Cycle, or the SDLC. Sometimes it's called the Software Development Life Cycle. They are the same. The second type is the Agile model or Agile approach, also another model for designing software using a different approach. And finally, we have the Object-Oriented software design model, which uses the UML design language in its processes and operations. In the last part of this chapter, we are going to talk about the case tools, computer-aided software engineering tools. We are going to define them to know what they are, how they operate, and how they are very important to the work of a system analyst or software engineer. So the main thing that a software engineer will consider very important for his work is the information that he or she collects and uses in designing, developing, and implementing certain software. So information is a key resource. When you want to implement a new software, or when you want to update an existing software, the most important thing that you want to start with is to collect the most important, the required information, the sufficient information, and to make sure that this information is very correct and the information is sufficient for you to be able to design the software. If you collect wrong information, you will be designing an erroneous and faulty software. If you collect insufficient information, you will be designing an incomplete software. So collecting information, making sure the information is correct, is valuable, is sufficient, is very important and is a main key for the success of the development of a software. Here there is a note that says, very important note that says, managing computer generated information totally differs from handling manually produced data. Which means that if you want to manage, control information that you gather, the way you control or manage information that is produced by computer systems differs very much from the way you manage or control information that is produced manually by employees, workers, or customers. So both type of information they exist, but the way that you make use of them and manage them is very different between one type and another. So these are the main topics of the first chapter, as I have said before. We will start at the beginning with a general overview of the different type of software that might exist in a certain professional business or organization. You are not required at all to memorize and by heart the names and the objectives of each type of software. This is just for you to know that if you are a software engineer or system analyst and you want to work using this job in a certain company, you need to differentiate between the different requirements of different type of software that might exist and be used in the company. Each level of management in the company requires certain type of software that is completely different from the type of software required at another management level in the company. Generally, we can say that the levels of management in the company can be divided into 4 main levels, as you can see in the managerial pyramid shown here. At the top level, we have the strategic level, top management level, which usually constitutes and comprises the board of the company, the top management of the company. At this level, we don't have anything related to actual operations of the company. So the details of the specific operations, they are very much hidden from this level. The next level is the called the higher level management. The second level of management called the higher level management. At this level, you have the vice presidents of the company, the assistants of the presidents of the company, and so on. So this level is responsible for communication between the top management of the company and the directors of the operations of the company. The third level, which is the knowledge level, this level is in direct touch with the employees of the company. All those employees who perform the activities and operations of the company, they will work at the operational level, the bottom level, and the managers of these employees will be gathered in the knowledge level, which is the first managerial level of the company. So the second and the third level, they are called the middle management of the company. The first level at the top of the pyramid is the higher management of the company, the board of the company, and we have at the bottom level the ordinary employees who perform the operations of the company as required. So each managerial level will require a certain type of software, or will use a certain type of software that has characteristics very different from software used at other managerial levels. For example, at the bottom level, you might expect the software that will be used here, which is usually called transaction processing software or system. You might expect such type of software to be very detailed, contains the very specific details about how the operation of the company will be executed between the employees of the company and the clients of the company. So it will contain very specific details related to the activities produced or done in the company. However, when you move up the managerial levels, you will find that the software will be tending more towards making decision, monitoring the data produced by the company and the results produced by the company, and assisting the management level, the management of the company in taking the various decisions related to the success of the company. So this is in general will give you an overview about the difference between software at different managerial level of the company. Now, the main job of the system analyst is to design, or software engineer is to design software, various type of software that needs to be used at different management levels in the company. Now, not all companies contain all managerial levels. Some of them contain only 3 or 2 levels in small companies. Some companies you might have only a management level and operational level. Other companies they combine the two middle management level into a single management level. But in general, you can say that the system analyst or software engineer needs to know about the specific type of software that are needed at each managerial level in the company. These are summarized, as you can see, in these two slides. So at the bottom level, we have the transaction processing software or system. Please note that we are going to use the word software or system interchangeably throughout the whole course. So when I say software or system, I mean the same thing. At the upper level, which is the knowledge level, we have two types of software, the knowledge work system and the office automation system. We all know about office automation such as the Microsoft Excel, Word that we use in our daily lives. At the third managerial level from the bottom, or the second managerial level from the top, we have three types of software, which are the expert system, the decision support system, and the management information system, or MIS. Finally, at the top managerial level, we have the expert or executive support system, the group decision support system, and the computer supported collaborative work systems. These last two are very similar to each other. Now, I am going to talk very briefly about the characteristics of each one of these 9 types of software. I don't want you to memorize them, to have them. Just understand them and make sure that you are able to differentiate between each one and another. Starting from the bottom, the first type of software that might exist in a company is the transaction processing system, or TPS. Now, this type of software is very general. It might comprise any type of software that contains activities related to the work of employees. For example, in a bank, you might have, or in general, company in general, you might have a software that is used by the payroll department in the company or in the bank to process the payments for employees. So each one of the employees, according to his level, to his work, will have a certain salary and will be paid a certain amount at the end of each month. We will have also different types of payments, full-time payments, part-time payments, and so on. So if you need a software that will manage the different types of payments and the different values and characteristics of each payment, you will need to keep all this data in a payroll software. This is one type of a transaction processing system or software. Another example, another type of such a software is the inventory management. So if you are a company that produces or imports various types of goods and material and sells them to customers, so you need to keep track of which items you have in your inventory. Keeping track of items can be done manually using manual files, or can be done using software. So software is much better because it organizes items into categories and you can keep track of the status of each item automatically and the amount of it. This is also another type of software called the inventory management software. So all these software, they support the employees in the company in their daily day-to-day operations and activities, and they reduce the time needed to perform the activities of the employees. They will help them perform their duties and activities in much less time. These software are very clear. They are used by the employees, ordinary employees of the company, to perform the various operations needed in the company. Now, at the first management level of the company, we have, at the knowledge level, we have two types of software. The first one is the office automation system, and the second one is the knowledge work system. The office automation system is a type of software that will support the managers to get the data from the employees and process this data and organize it into meaningful formats and results. For example, the word processing, Microsoft Word, for example, Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, desktop publishing, such as Adobe Publisher, electronic scheduling, calendars, calendar software, communication software. All of these are types of software that will help and support the directors and managers at this level to be able to communicate with the employees to get the data that they produce from the TPS software, and to organize this data and save it in a meaningful format, and to be able to produce meaningful results from it. This type of software is used generally for communication, for acquiring data, for saving data, and managing and dealing with data. The same can be said about the knowledge work system, except that this type of software is scientific oriented. So the office automation system, they can be used by any manager regardless of his scientific level. On the other hand, the work knowledge systems, they usually require scientific knowledge of certain aspects to be able to use them. Examples of this software are computer-aided design systems, such as CAD drawing software, virtual reality systems, which create and use virtual reality simulations, investment workstations, which work with investment budgets and investment material. So this type of software, they are very similar to office automation system, but they require scientific knowledge of a certain scientific area to be able to use them. And they are used by a specific type of managers, such as doctors, scientists, engineers, and so on. Now, at the third level, the second management level in the company, which is called the higher level, we have three types of software or system. First, we have the management information system. Now, if you look online for management information software, you will find that according to the type of the company, you will have the company will implement a certain management information software that enables the management at the second managerial level of the company to be able to extract the data and will produce to the management, to the managers, results from the data that will enable them to make decisions. So, for example, if I have a large amount of data and I want to produce from this data a meaningful output that will give me a clear view about a certain aspect related to the production in the company or the profits in the company. So the software that produces such views, such overall views from data, is called the management information system. So in general, it is a software that is used to manage data, to enable managers to produce meaningful results from data, to model data into certain models, and to help the management, to help the managers of the company to take decisions, produce decisions that will benefit the company. Examples of such software are Microsoft Dynamics, Fleetmatic Word, and so on. The type of data produced by such software could be, for example, expenses versus budgets. So the total amount of expenses you are making versus the total amount of budget you are putting into the produced material, for example, by the company. Another example of data model that is produced by such software is the profit margin and sales by sales region. So for each region I'm selling my product, what is the profit margin in this region? So in this case, the software at the second level will produce data for me. Now this software will take this data and will cluster it into certain categories. Then it will apply mathematical functions, it will apply certain mathematical models, scientific models to the data, categorized data, and will produce certain results from this data. The second type of software at the second managerial level is called the Decision Support System, or the DSS. Now, this type of software is directly related to making decisions and enabling the managers to see clear decisions that should be taken and decide on a certain decision to take. For example, a software that do financial planning will help the managers to oversee and create a financial plan for the future of the company or a budget model. So we can say that the output of the MIS software can be inputted to the decision support system so that we can make specific decisions, or we can reach specific decisions from the output of the MIS using the DSS, and then the management will be responsible for choosing a certain decision to take from the decisions that are produced by the DSS software. In some cases, the data will need experts to deal with. So in some cases, the data will be general data, any user can understand and take decision on it. In some cases, it will be scientific data, it will be big data related to a huge amount of data, for example. So in these cases, you need experts to be able to understand and deduce the knowledge from the data, and maybe run a machine learning algorithm on the data to be able to produce results from it. This type of software that is used in this case is called the expert system or expert software. In this case, a certain expert will run the software. It will the expert will use his expertise, his knowledge about the scientific field in order to be able to deduce the decisions and take the decisions needed from this scientific data. This is an example of one of the software for the higher level, which is a decision support software. This software, as you can see, will cluster data into clusters, will use scalar modeling to be able to categorize data, and will give possible decisions for management in order to take one of the possible decisions that are proposed by the software. Finally, at the highest level, the strategic level, which usually contains the top management of the company, we have three types of software. The executive support system software, in which it's very similar to the decision support system, but the decision support system is usually related to a specific department or specific section of the company. On the other hand, the executive support system is usually related to the whole company. Since the upper management will be responsible for making decisions related to the general operations of the company, so the executive support system will take the data from several decision support systems in the various departments of the company and grouping this data together in order to be able to reach results and reach decisions that are related to the whole operations of the company. So it does the same general job as the DSS, but at a higher level and a more comprehensive level that includes and comprises the several departments of the company. The last two software are very similar to each other, which are the group decision support system and the computer supported collaborative work system. These mainly they will help managers to interact with each other and collaborate with each other mutually in order to be able to reach global decisions that will affect the whole company. Computer supported is more professional in technology than group decision. Group decision could be implemented without the professional network support, without professional collaborative communication support between the managers of the company. Since managers might be at different times at different places, so in this case there could be need sometimes for a software that implements networking tools inside the software and collaboration tools, online tools such as video conferencing, web survey, etc. So this is a characteristic of the computer supported collaborative work system. So in general, this type of software, the GDSS and the CSCWS, they can be categorized into four main types. either they enable managers to communicate with each other at the same place at the same time, so they should be all together find in the same place at the same time, or they could enable the management of the company to be at the same place but at different times, so they can communicate with each other using emails, using feedback, using files, and so on. Or they can use the software to communicate with each other during the same time using a meeting, for example, but they could be found at different places, or in general they could be at different places at different times also. So these are the main types of software that the software engineer or system analyst might be required to design, develop, and implement during his work at a certain company. As I said before, I just need you to know that these types of software exist, to be able to differentiate between them, know the general information about them. We will not be referring to specific types of software from now on. We will be taking the general overview of how to design a software in general, but it is good for you to know that the software engineer or the system analyst is responsible for knowing the different characteristics of different type of software, and be able to know what type of characteristics and capabilities should exist in each type of this software. This will be the end of the first lecture of the course. See you in the next lecture.